Seen worse.
Welcome to the PFO channel. I'm Jim. Let's do a truck topper makeover.
It certainly needs a paint job. This is a nice A.R.E. cap with the screens, sliding side windows. He even had the key. Yeah, the thing is really dirty inside, but the screens are all fully intact. It's a perfect fit for this truck, and I got it for $200. And the reason I got it so cheap is because last time he was taking it off his truck, he dropped it and scuffed it up right there. I absolutely love finding a really good deal like this on something that shouldn't be this inexpensive, but it is because something's broke on it. That is my happy place, when I can fix something and get the value out of it after getting a really, really rock bottom deal on it. That's just fun. All right, I can't wait to get this home and clean it off and get it fixed up.
All right, well, we had to drive clear into the next state, about 4.5 hours from home to get it, but it turned out to be worth the drive, and we got it home here and got it washed up. And now I'm gonna get ready to paint it inside and out, but first I gotta fix up the cracks that are on the front edge of it. I'm gonna use some fiberglass body filler like Bondo, and then I'm gonna paint the whole inside of it, and then I'm gonna put the U-Pol Raptor liner, spray-on bed liner on the outside of it. So let's see how it turns out. This should be fun. When I got to his house, it was leaning up against his house with this surface against the concrete. It looks like he not only dropped it, but it looks like it has been dragged. If you look at it from the inside, you can actually see light coming through, so it's almost a complete hole. There's also some scratches and some pretty serious blistering on the clear coat layer. Yeah, it looks like this whole thing is going to need a really good sanding before I paint it, but now I need to fix this damage on the corner. And before I fix the damage on the corners, I need to do a light sanding just to help the body filler stick. Oh, I need to stir this up real well. You get about a golf ball sized pile of the resin. And then mix up the hardener a little bit, and about an inch long line of hardener. These little craft sticks or stirring sticks are indispensable for mixing this kind of stuff and applying it as well. I'm going to start with this one because it's the worst damage and it'll take the most filler. I don't want to have to put a second layer on this, so I'm really loading it up. I don't want any of those spots that I have to go back over after I file it down. These other spots aren't too bad, just deep chips. This gouge over here on this side. And take one last quick check. Make sure I didn't leave any low spots before this hardens up too much to spread it anymore. I always leave a little bit of the leftover right on the sticks because it's an easy way to check to see if it's hardened yet, or gone off as our friends over in the UK say. I'll set it across this lid so it doesn't make a mess while I'm waiting for it to get dry. Looks like it's ready. I always start with a pocket rasp to quickly take down all the high spots. Then I'll hit it with a 4-way rasp. And then end up with a sanding sponge. This doesn't have to be nearly as smooth as if I was using normal automotive paint to cover it, Perfect. This one was really bad. That is good right there. A lot of the videos I've seen of people painting truck toppers, they just mask off the windows and then they just paint around them. But I don't like the way that looks. You can always see some of the old finish back in behind the window frames. So I think I'm going to take them completely out. Leave me a comment below and let me know which way you would have done it. And since this trailer is not attached to a hitch up front, I'm going to put a jack stand under it so that when I crawl in the back, it doesn't go tongue high on me. There's a whole bunch of screws around the inside frame holding these on. I am not flexible enough for that kind of crap. Okay, I'm going to mark this one as passenger side. And I'm going to mark this one as driver's side. And I know what you're thinking. Since there's only two of them and I marked one, it's redundant to mark the second one, right? Now that front one, I'm going to go up front there. Oh, that last little bit of rubber is the only piece that's stuck in. Come on. Did I leave a screw in there? Oh crap, I left a screw in there. Alrighty, so now what do I do? Alright, come here, tripod. I'm glad this tripod's handy, because that is what's going to keep this bugger from falling out on the ground right about now. There we go. Yeah, I've got these, I might as well use them, right? Do the same around there. I'll have to drill out these big rivets. There's two on each side, a couple over here, before I can get this trim off and pop the rear hatch out. Hopefully it doesn't come crashing down upon me. There we go, this side. This high mount brake light looks like it's held on just with double-sided tape. Okay, the pressure washer cleaned it up pretty well inside here, but I need to sand the entire inside of it because there's all these little fiberglass needles sticking down, and I've already ruined one coat by rubbing my shoulders and back on it while I was crawling around in here, and those needles got into that fabric and I just can't get them out vacuuming or any other way, so I had to throw that coat away. And I'm hoping that a good sanding and a couple of coats of spray paint will take care of that, at least minimize the amount of fiberglass needles I have to deal with in the future. I'm just going to use normal cans of spray paint for the inside of this topper. I hope I like this orange color. You really don't realize how much overspray these things make when you're concentrating on swinging the can. I'm sure glad I rolled this outside. And this is why I wear rubber gloves.
All right, let's let that dry for a while. And I'll do at least one more coat. I got 6 cans of that. Got one coat with 2 cans, but there's still a lot of the dark that's showing through. This is what I'm using.
I'm hoping that a light sanding with this sponge in between the spray paint coats will knock down any remaining glass fibers that are sticking up. You know, this is probably the best argument going for why it's preferable to line the inside of these things with carpet. But, yeah, I don't know. Should I? This would be the time. I thought about it a lot and I decided just to sand it and paint it. Guess I'm having some second thoughts about that. I guess I'm not real confident that this is going to solve the issue of the fiberglass needles. I hope it isn't too windy today for this second coat. There's a lot of debris falling out of these trees. Yeah, that looks good. I don't believe I'm going to do a third coat. Wow, with all this blue and orange, you would think I'm a Detroit Tigers fan or something. I'm going to let this dry longer before I start sanding the outside. It's dry to the touch, but the sanding dust is certainly going to fall out on this edge, and I don't trust it not to stick yet. I'm going to use my electric sander on this, and I'm going to start with 120 grit, and then I'm going to go over it again with 220 grit, and then I'll do a final step to rough it back up with the sanding block sponge.
This is some softer material, so I'm going to hand sand that lip.
I don't know if you noticed on the first round of sanding, but I changed directions after bringing the sander up over this edge. And everywhere I change directions, it leaves a little row of tiny little round swirl marks. I don't like that. So on the second sanding, I'm going to make sure that I keep it moving in one direction as I lift it off the surface rather than changing directions with it touching the surface. Hopefully that'll avoid those little swirls.
Got some warm water out of the bathroom. All right, that needs to dry up. So I think I just need to cut some pieces of cardboard to put behind there. Just like for when I'm spraying here, I don't get a bunch of overspray on my orange inside there. I've got my cardboard pieces cut, cover the side windows. But how am I going to hold them up there? Now, I could get in there and mess around with duct tape, but I know the duct tape isn't going to hold very well. So what I've done is I've cut a bunch of wood strips that are about a 1/4 inch thick
And from 1.5" stock down in the hole there. And then you push it all up into it. Right like that. You go under that one. That one's in place. All right, there we go. Those are the bowed pieces of wood. And that's going to keep all my cardboard in place while I'm spraying around the outside here. And back here, I'll just use the strategic angle. I won't be spraying this way at all, so I shouldn't get any overspray into there. I think the manufacturer's recommendation for the Raptor liner is to use a grit between 120 and 150 for the final sanding. I'll double check that and put a little sign up in the corner here if I was wrong. So I'm going to go back over it with this 120 grit sponge. And the sole purpose of that is to just make scratches that are big enough to get good adhesion between the urethane coating and the existing surface. In between the 2 rounds of sanding, I wiped it down with warm water, but now I'm going to give it a final wipe down with solvent before I spray the Raptor liner. I'll be spraying the outside of this with U-Pol Raptor liner. Now I bought the 6-quart kit. I think I can do 1 coat on this in less than 3 quarts, so I've got enough to do 2 coats on it. Oh, I see. This bigger can of hardener is for 4 quarts, and then there's 2 of these little 1-quart hardeners. I chose this kit because it has the spray gun that goes with it. Oh, I'm really glad to see that it has a regulator and a gauge included. That's a big deal. Need to get some Teflon tape and assemble all these pieces. Well, I picked up a swivel for the air connector on this. That'll help avoid getting tangled up in my air hose as I go round and round this topper. This is not a paid promotion. I bought all the materials that you see in this video with my own money. I am an Amazon associate though, so I'm going to put links to these products in the description below the video for your convenience. As an Amazon associate, I may earn from your use of these links, but there's no added cost to you for doing so. It's a great way for you to support the channel. It helps us to continue to put out interesting and useful content like this. This gauge is really handy. It lets me adjust the pressure right here in my hand instead of having to walk in by the air compressor to make changes. The recommended pressure on this stuff is between 40 and 60 psi. I'm going to start off at 40 and see what happens. I think you want your air as dry as possible, so make sure all your moisture traps are freshly emptied on your air system. Okay, let's mix up our first bottle. I've never used this product before. In fact, I've never used any kind of an automotive spray-on finish other than just the spray cans like I did on the interior of this thing. But how hard could it be? Use their little mixing cup here and add the hardener. And then shake it for 3 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to watch the whole 3 minutes? Maybe next time. I'm going to test it on this cardboard panel first. Yeah, it looks good. It only took about 2 3/4 jugs to do that part there. So I got this thing cleaned off. You can't let this thing set for the hour in between coats with the stuff in it. You have to clean it off in between. Just using acetone and a little pan there. These swabs. Okay, it's been 1 hour. That's the recommended flash time in between coats. These are only filled to about here, so that there's room to put the hardener in and only get it up to about here without risk of overfilling it. Interestingly, it says if you don't do a second coat between 1 hour and 5 hours, then you have to wait till the next day and do another light sanding before you second coat it. All right, that's enough. I say that's clean. I'm going to clean up these windows before I put them back on. Using a heat gun makes it a lot easier to get the old seals off. I picked up this roll of foam weather seal from Amazon, and I got the 1/16 thick by 3/4 inch wide, and it's double-sided adhesive. So I want the seam to be at the bottom and near the back. Okay, this one's ready to go on. This is a double-sided sticky tape.
Oh, okay.
And so what I have to do is peel this off, and then it's the sort of thing where there's not much forgiveness. So we need to get it up there in position, and hopefully the first time we touch it, it's where we want it. I think what we want to do is see how there's kind of a lip. I think we want to try to set it onto the bottom.
Can you see the holes where it was?
Yep. All right, you can let go. Thank you. That looks perfect. And that looks so much better than if I had tried to tape these off and spray in behind them. Yeah, this is the right way to do this job. Just take the windows right out of there. I'm going to use some Goo Gone to get the goo gone.
This isn't sticky, so we're just gonna balance it until I get a couple of screws in. There we go. This one had a short piece of this double sticky on each end here. It might just be an assembly aid. Okay, I'll put that screwdriver back through there. And then we lined up with the fiberglass as well. There we go. Okay, get in.
There.
Well, I ran out of screws and screw holes at exactly the same time. Man, that looks way nicer than a $200 capper at this point, huh? A bit of work.
A little bit.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you.
This had two heavy aluminum rivets on each side, but I'm going to replace them with some black M6 bolts and dowel nuts. I use a hex wrench or an Allen wrench. So this will come from the outside, and then this will go back in on the inside. So I'm going to drill from the outside with a drill bit just big enough to clear the threads of the bolt. And then I'm going to go back in from the inside, and it's just big enough to miss the outer diameter of this dowel nut.
Check that. Yeah, that's good. Now I gotta figure out how much to shorten my bolt. So it needs to go about, looks like I gotta take 10 threads off of that. On. Now this one down here is completely different because it doesn't interact with this aluminum bezel around there. It just comes through the fiberglass. So I'm going to just run it through there and put a nut on the back of it.
I did put a dab of black silicone on these bolts before pushing them into place through the fiberglass.
And I am going to put a jam nut on that.
I'll vacuum that up after I do the other side. Well, I've still got this thing at easy reachable level. I'm going to put some accessories up here. Well, it's easy to reach, and because they're going to help me pick it up and put it on the truck. I got 4 of these little stainless steel eye bolts with washers and a big track nut. And I'm going to put 4 of them out here, 1 at each corner of this rail. And they will serve a couple of purposes. First, it'll give me hoist points to pick it up with my gantry crane, back truck up under it, and load it up. And then once it's on there, they will give me some tie down points for anything that I might want to attach to the roof rack. Now this is a used Thule roof rack that I picked up. My front to back dimension is going to be dictated by the maximum adjustability of my Thule Cascade supports. And that one is, these are adjustable. That's all the way forward. This is all the way back. And so it looks like 38.5 is the widest I can have these. Right, like that. Well, it's done. What do you think? Oh, and by the way, if you notice all the other blackout work on this, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss it when I post up videos on all the extra blackout on the trim and the bumper and stuff. Did a lot of work on this thing, so can't wait to share it with you. Thanks a lot for watching. PFO channel out.